How did a small nation like Singapore build one of the world's finest airlines? It all began with a humble flight in 1947 under the name Malayan Airways. But it wasn't until 1972, when Singapore Airlines was officially established, that a new chapter truly began, one defined by exceptional service, a cutting-edge fleet, and the iconic image of the Singapore girl that captivated the world. From Southeast Asia to the skies across the globe, Singapore Airlines has done more than just transport passengers. It has set new standards and inspired excellence worldwide. Join me as we explore the extraordinary journey of Singapore Airlines, from its Asian runway routes to its soaring global reputation. Don't forget to like, share, and follow so you won't miss more exciting videos. Singapore Airlines was officially established on October 1, 1972, following the split of Malaysia-Singapore Airlines into two separate entities due to divergent national aviation priorities. While Malaysia focused on domestic connectivity, Singapore, as a city-state with no domestic market, pursued aggressive international expansion. Upon its inception, Singapore Airlines inherited MSA's modern fleet, including Boeing 707s, Boeing 737s, and soon after, its first Boeing 747 jumbo jet, enabling long-haul operations from day one. With no domestic routes to sustain it, Singapore Airlines' strategy hinged entirely on international growth. It moved rapidly to sign air service agreements with countries such as Australia, India, and Japan, and expanded its network across Asia, Europe, and beyond. Even prior to the split, the airline had operated its first transcontinental route, Singapore to London, in June 1971, laying the groundwork for a truly global carrier. From the outset, Singapore Airlines positioned itself as a premium service leader, pioneering industry firsts such as free headsets and multiple meal choices in economy class. It also launched the now iconic Singapore Girl brand, with cabin crew dressed in Pierre Balmain-designed sarong kebayas, becoming a symbol of gracious Asian hospitality. Supporting its operational ambitions, Singapore Airlines founded Singapore Airport Terminal Services in 1972 and completed a wide-body hangar in 1977, solidifying the foundation for decades of world-class performance. The 1980s marked a transformative decade for Singapore Airlines, as it shifted from a regional carrier to a globally recognized intercontinental airline. A pivotal development came in 1981 when Singapore Airlines relocated operations from Paya Lebar to the newly built Changi Airport. This modern facility, opened on July 1, 1981, was designed to be a global aviation hub and gave Singapore Airlines the infrastructure it needed to support high-volume, long-haul traffic. Fleet expansion played a central role in Singapore Airlines' international ambitions. In 1981, it introduced the Airbus A300, its first wide-body Airbus, on regional routes. This was followed by the addition of Boeing 747-300s, Boeing 757s, and Airbus A310s in the mid-1980s. A major milestone came in May 1983, when Singapore Airlines launched its first U.S. service to Los Angeles via Tokyo using a Boeing 747-300. These long-range aircraft enabled the airline to build a broad network across Europe, North America, and Australia. Throughout the decade, Singapore Airlines reinforced its premium brand with industry-leading service innovations, from complimentary drinks in all classes to enhanced meals in economy. It's a great way to fly campaign, and the iconic Singapore Girl image solidified its global identity. Under the steady leadership of Dr. Chong Chung Kong, who became CEO in 1984, Singapore Airlines achieved operational excellence and earned growing recognition in global airline rankings. In 1989, Singapore Airlines also launched Tradewinds, a regional subsidiary that later evolved into SilkAir, laying the foundation for a multi-brand strategy to serve both premium and secondary markets in Asia. The 1990s marked a decade of bold innovation and international ambition for Singapore Airlines. The carrier continually enhanced its in-flight experience to maintain its premium edge. In 1991, it became one of the first airlines to introduce personal in-flight telephones, offering passengers satellite connectivity. By 1998, Singapore Airlines had invested 500 million Singapore dollars to overhaul its cabins, introducing upgraded seats, elevated dining, and improved entertainment across all classes. The launch of the KrisFlyer loyalty program in 1999 further strengthened customer retention and positioned Singapore Airlines for the Global Alliance era. In terms of partnerships, Singapore Airlines initially remained independent but made calculated moves to expand its reach. In 1999, it acquired a 49% stake in Virgin Atlantic, aiming to tap into the transatlantic market. The following year, in April 2000, Singapore Airlines joined the Star Alliance, becoming the first Southeast Asian member. This milestone granted Singapore Airlines access to an expansive global network via code shares and reciprocal benefits. Despite regional economic turbulence, most notably the 1997 Asian financial crisis, Singapore Airlines remained resilient. Although it posted its first net loss in 1998, the airline recovered swiftly and continued international expansion, adding long-haul routes to Las Vegas, Chicago, and beyond. By the end of the decade, Singapore Airlines had cemented its place as a world leader in service and innovation, routinely topping global rankings. Its success in the 1990s laid the strategic and reputational foundation for the decades ahead. Entering the new millennium, Singapore Airlines reinforced its global stature by joining the Star Alliance on April 1, 2000, significantly expanding its international reach. Concurrently, Singapore Airlines embarked on a major fleet modernization program. In 2003, it became the launch customer for the Airbus, a A340-500, which enabled historic non-stop services to the U.S., including record-setting flights to Los Angeles and New York. These routes, later reconfigured as all business class services, showcased the airline's ambition and innovation. In 2007, Singapore Airlines again made aviation history by operating the world's first commercial Airbus, a 380 flight from Singapore to Sydney, debuting the luxurious suites class. By the late 2000s, the airline had also added advanced Boeing 777-300ERs, launching revamped cabins with lie-flat business seats and industry-leading entertainment systems. The decade also brought serious challenges. The 9/11 attacks, 2003 SARS outbreak, and the 2008 global financial crisis significantly disrupted travel. CEO Chu Choon-Seng led cost control measures, avoided mass layoffs, and preserved the airline's core strengths. A major tragedy struck in 2000 with the crash of Flight SQ006 in Taipei, prompting safety reforms. Singapore Airlines diversified its business with new ventures. SIA Cargo operated independently to grow freight services, while Tiger Airways marked Singapore Airlines' entry into low-cost travel. These moves widened Singapore Airlines' market footprint. Despite turbulence, Singapore Airlines maintained high standards, winning Skytrax Airline of the Year in 2007 and 2008. The 2000s solidified its reputation as a forward-looking, service-driven global leader in aviation. In the 2010s, Singapore Airlines transformed from a single premium carrier into a diversified aviation group. In 2012, it launched Scoot, a low-cost subsidiary targeting long-haul leisure routes. Scoot flew Boeing 777s, later Boeing 787s, and quickly expanded across Asia-Pacific. To consolidate its budget strategy, Tiger Air was merged into Scoot by 2017, creating a unified low-cost brand, operating both narrow and wide-body aircraft. Meanwhile, Silk Air, Singapore Airlines' full-service regional wing, began integration into the mainline brand in 2018. Completed by 2021, this move brought narrow-body Boeing 737's operations under Singapore Airlines, standardizing service across short and long-haul routes. fleet renewal remained a priority. Singapore Airlines was the launch customer for the Boeing 787-10 in 2018 and also expanded its Airbus A350-900 fleet, including the ULR variant that revived record-breaking nonstop flights to New York. In 2017, it invested $850 million to upgrade its Airbus A380 cabins, introducing luxurious suites and new business class seats. Premium economy was added in 2015, catering to evolving passenger expectations. Singapore Airlines joined Tata Group in launching Vistara in 2015, extending its footprint into India. Strategic partnerships also strengthened, including joint ventures with Air New Zealand and Lufthansa. Leadership passed to Goh Chun Fong in 2011, who championed digital transformation and innovation hubs like ChrysLab. Throughout the decade, Singapore Airlines earned numerous awards: Skytrax Airline of the Year, 2018, Best Cabin Crew, and Best First Class, cementing its global reputation. It also began testing sustainable aviation fuels and joined global emissions initiatives, laying the foundation for long-term environmental strategy. The 2020s began as a defining decade for Singapore Airlines, marked by unprecedented disruption and strategic reinvention. With borders closed and no domestic market, Singapore Airlines grounded over 95% of its fleet in 2020 and pivoted to cargo operations to stay afloat. SIA Cargo, supported by wide-body aircraft and surging global freight demand, became a critical revenue stream. Backed by 15 billion Singapore dollars in liquidity from a rights issue and government-backed support, the airline implemented cost-cutting measures, including workforce reductions and wage cuts. Instead of scaling back, Singapore Airlines focused on transformation. It retired older aircraft early and accelerated deliveries of fuel-efficient Airbus, A350s, and Boeing 787s. The integration of Silk Air in 2021 allowed Singapore Airlines to operate both short and long-haul routes under a single premium brand, while Scoot expanded regionally, enhancing group flexibility. By fiscal year 2022-23, Singapore Airlines had returned to profitability with record earnings. Passenger volumes surged as borders reopened and vaccinated travel lanes resumed. Capacity reached nearly 80% of pre-COVID-19 levels by mid-2023. Strategically, Singapore Airlines secured a 25.1% stake in Air India via the Vistara merger, gaining access to India's fast-growing aviation market. It also deepened partnerships with United Airlines and Virgin Australia. The airline's renewed service excellence and firm commitment to sustainability, including net zero emissions by 2050 and 5% SAF usage by 2030, underscore its future readiness. As of 2025, Singapore Airlines has emerged from a volatile decade as a leaner, more agile aviation powerhouse, strategically aligned for sustained global leadership. With its network fully restored, Singapore Airlines now operates across more than 110 destinations, spanning 6 continents. The airline leverages its home base at Changi Airport, still one of the world's top transit hubs, alongside a growing dual-hub model anchored by its 25.1% stake in the newly merged Air India Vistara entity. This multi-hub architecture allows Singapore Airlines to capture intercontinental flows from South and Southeast Asia, maximizing connectivity across both premium and value-driven segments. Financially, Singapore Airlines remains strong. Record profits from fiscal year 2022-23 have enabled continued reinvestment in core areas, including fleet renewal and passenger experience. With a healthy balance sheet and Temasek's stable 55% shareholding, the airline enjoys strategic flexibility and capital discipline. Fleet modernization is advancing steadily with new Airbus A350s and Boeing 787-10s entering service, while the next generation Boeing 777-9 is slated to debut from 2026, bringing new long-haul cabin innovations. On the digital front, Singapore Airlines is executing a group-wide transformation, expanding the Chris Plus ecosystem, enhancing personalization through AI, and upgrading in-flight connectivity and entertainment. Meanwhile, Scoot is scaling its footprint in underserved ASEAN and Central Asian markets, extending the group's reach into price-sensitive sectors. Singapore Airlines' premium brand continues to command global respect. In 2025, it was ranked the world's second most admired airline, with ongoing enhancements to lounges, crew training, wellness menus, and loyalty offerings. With operational depth, strategic clarity, and relentless service innovation, Singapore Airlines is poised to define the next chapter of global aviation excellence. In closing, Singapore Airlines' journey over the past 50 years stands as a benchmark for global aviation excellence. From a modest regional operation to a diversified world-class airline group, Singapore Airlines has consistently combined innovation, resilience, and strategic foresight. It has turned adversity into opportunity, built one of the most admired brands in the skies, and positioned itself for long-term relevance. As it enters the next era with strong financials, a modern fleet, and a clear sustainability agenda, Singapore Airlines remains firmly committed to delivering the gold standard in air travel, continuing to prove why it is, and will remain, a truly great way to fly.